Got an update right now, and I'm sure you know about this tragic story about Peanut the squirrel, as well as his friend Fred the raccoon. Both of them taken and euthanized by New York State DEC, or Department of Environmental Conservation agents. They executed a search warrant at Peanut's Freedom Farm in just outside of Elmira, New York on October 30th. They took Peanut as well as Fred and they euthanized him. And to make it worse, their dad says that the media was informed before they were. And the dad went on to say that they basically stormed onto the property, more than a half a dozen agents, and they were armed with their search warrant, executed the search warrant, and they were put in tough conditions, they say, as they were not allowed to go into the house, that dad had to ask to go to the bathroom and that he had to be escorted to use his own bathroom. And then they couldn't feed the other animals at the farm, breakfast or lunch, because of what was going on with the DEC agents. And also reportedly, one of the agents asked his wife if she was from this country or not. Not sure what that had to do with it, but let me tell you this. Here is an email that I received from DEC just late yesterday. And it says, the Chemung County Department of Health, that's the area for Elmira, and the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation are coordinating to ensure the protection of public health related to the illegal possession of wild animals that have the potential to carry the rabies virus. On October 30th, DEC seized a raccoon and squirrel sharing a residence. Can you imagine sharing a residence with humans, creating the potential for human exposure to rabies? Keep in mind, Peanut had been with them for 7 years after Dad rescued Peanut from the side of the road after he witnessed Peanut's mom get killed. So he took him in, and he's been with them for the last 7 years. That's why they moved out to Elmira, because Peanut here was the face of Peanut's Freedom Farm, where they could get donations to help the animals who were taken out of these abusive situations. I believe it was 300 to 350 animals helped already, and that was in just the first year alone. We go on right now with this from the state DEC. In addition, a person involved with the investigation was bitten by the squirrel. To test for rabies, both animals were euthanized. The animals are being tested for rabies, and anyone who has been in contact with these animals is strongly encouraged to consult their physician. Again, after 7 years. After 7 years. And then it goes on to say, on background, rabies has been found in raccoons in the southern tier for more than 30 years. I've lived in the southern tier. I know where Elmira is. I know where Pine City is, where they are. I lived in Binghamton. And I know about rabies and raccoons. But what I also know is, and I can't understand why DEC would go in there. Oh yes, there were complaints made. Who made these complaints? I'm putting in Freedom of Information Act requests to find out who made these complaints and had Peanut and Fred euthanized. Remember, the money that came in to support Peanut's Freedom Farm it was a result of Peanut. He was their salesperson, if you will. He's the one who got people to donate money to save these animals from these abusive relationships that they found themselves in. So the good news here is that, let me see, the change.org position, which I put a link in on TheRealPaulMueller.com. Here it is, right there. There you go. Dad and Peanut with his waffle in happier times. Call for justice for Peanut the squirrel and NYSDEC reform. At this point, it's now 6 p.m. Eastern time on Saturday. 40,021 signatures. And it says, to add to our anguish, they informed the media of their decision before even notifying Peanut's Freedom Farm. This demonstrates a troubling lack of respect and empathy. Their lives were precious, and we refuse to accept this loss in silence. The petition goes on to say, we urgently call on all of you to stand with us in demanding accountability from the DEC and the New York State government. We must advocate for a more compassionate approach to wildlife management to ensure that no other animals suffer such a fate. Together, And this is what we always say about animal advocacy. Together, we can amplify our voices and fight for the change that is desperately needed. The DEC agents, and as I told you before what happened, they want to emphasize, though, that any remaining funds, because they're GoFundMe, and I'll talk about that in a second, they want to emphasize that any remaining funds from the petition drive will be used to support the nonprofit Peanuts Freedom Farm as a safe haven for other vulnerable animals in need. Okay, so that's the change.org petition, which is on my website, TheRealPaulMueller.com. But here we go. Here's the GoFundMe right here. It says, call for justice for Peanut the Squirrel and NYSDEC reform. And this is from Peanut's parents. Dear Peanut and Fred, we hope this letter finds you surrounded by love and light. It feels so heavy to write this, knowing how cruel the world can be. We want to express how truly sorry we are for the way things ended for you. It breaks our heart that there were mean people who took you away from us, people who didn't understand the joy and love you brought to our lives. Every moment we spent with you was a gift. Your playful spirit and gentle nature filled our days with laughter. I can't even read this, laughter and warmth. The memories of your little quirks and antics are treasures we'll hold dear. It's painful to think that those moments were cut short. We miss you both so deeply. In the wake of your loss, something beautiful is happening. People are coming together, demanding change, raising funds to ensure your kingdom lives on. They're advocating for a world where animals are treated with the kindness and respect you both deserved. It's heartwarming to see so many passionate souls uniting to protect and honor your memory. Their efforts will create a safer, more loving environment for all the animals, ensuring that your legacies continue to inspire change. Please know that your brothers and sisters are now safe at the Peanut Freedom Farm. They are in a place filled with kindness and love. They may not be with you right now, but they will always carry a piece of your spirit with them. We will never forget you, Peanut and Fred. You are forever in our hearts, and your memories will guide us as we care for your family. We hope you can feel our love reaching out to you, even from this distance. Until we meet again, know that you are cherished and missed more than words can express. With all our love and sorrow, Mom and Dad, Peanut's Freedom Farm. Yes, over a squirrel and over a raccoon. Yes, that's what we animal advocates, we animal lovers know. Why, 7 years later, who did this? Who made these complaints? And how did these officers just go in there and say, well, we've gotten complaints, so we're going to have to, oh, do you have cameras in your home too? And treat these people like they were common criminals, and then take their two animals that they had cared for so many years, Peanut, 7 years, and just take them and euthanize them. How can that be legal, and how can that be done? Shouldn't they have had at least Mom and Dad had a fighting chance to save these animals? Up here in Massachusetts with Nibby the beaver, well, the governor got involved, Maura Healey, and said, this ain't gonna happen. Nibby is not gonna be released out into the world because, you know what, they rescued Nibby. She didn't have the survival skills to be out there in the world all on her own. So the governor said, no, Nibby's alive today and doing well. The governor of this great state, the governor of New York, where was she? Why was she not informed of this? Why? Why was she not informed? Justice for Peanut. Justice for Fred the raccoon. Justice for the animals, the wildlife that people think they can just do whatever they want with. Rabies, really? There was a potential for rabies. If this squirrel had rabies, how is it that Mom and Dad didn't get it? Right? Sure. You want to say you want to do your job, DEC, but DEC, do you really know what you did? What you did for all the other animals at that sanctuary? I'll tell you this right now. Mom and Dad are so good, and we are good as an animal advocate community, that we will make sure that Peanut's Freedom Farm lives on to help all those animals rescued from an abusive situation. We know it will live on because we animal advocates and animal lovers will make it live on, even without Peanut and Fred. Even without them. But right now is the time to act. Time for justice. Time to make your voice heard. Sign this petition on change.org, also on my website. Donate money. Let's make sure This sets an example, a sad example of what government can go ahead and do. And this is not a government considered issue. I don't get involved in that stuff. But yes, government, the DEC can do and just break up a family just like that. No. Use your voice.